Hey there, PHP 8.1 has been released with some new features. Enums, read-only properties, first-class callable new initializers, fibers, area unpacking for string read arrays, a little bit performance improvements, which I'll cover in another video, and some minor changes. This is a short video about fibers and asynchronous, and also a quick start with fibers. It's a low-level API, so it may not be necessary for many developers to learn it, but understanding the concept behind will be much helpful for asynchronous programming. So, what are fibers? As the PHP.NET says, fibers allow the creation of full-stack interruptible functions that can be used to implement cooperative multitasking in PHP. Fibers pause the entire execution stack, so the direct caller of the function does not need to change how it invokes the function. This is an example of a fiber. It's something like a lightweight thread of execution. The code block within the fiber can execute and suspend, can return any data back to the main program, and resume later from something else. Also, the main program can resume the fiber from the point it was suspended by injecting a value. So, what is asynchronous? Your code is asynchronous if that is writing using the asynchronous model, and it can multitask. There are two types of API calls. Synchronous calls, which must be completed before code execution resumes on the API. Synchronous is sequential, and individual tasks must be completed before you can start another one. So, with synchronous PHP, the CPU can process only one I/O task at a time. When it completes one task, it moves on to the next one in the queue. Asynchronous calls do not pause the code execution. Instead, we have a callback when the code is completed. So, how much fibers are useful for asynchronous programming? We have some points to consider. It could boost PHP performance if you use async instead of synchronous programming. PHP implementation of fibers is not through asynchronous computing. The core of the PHP will be still synchronous after fibers are introduced. A fiber can't be scheduled by itself. The programmer needs a scheduler to run things asynchronously. In fact, fibers don't bring much to PHP. It's a basic tool to help for asynchronous programming, and you need external libraries with or without fibers for async. You would have to use something like AMP, React PHP, Soul, Gazelle, or Ravenspatey, or build something that can execute concurrently to provide async execution. Also, fibers might be similar to threads if we try to compare. As the PHP.NET says, when the start method of a thread is invoked, the run method code will be executed in a separate thread in parallel. But the thing is, neither multitasking nor concurrency means multithreading. Threads are controlled by your operation system, and there is no guarantee when a thread paused and resumed. Also, threading in PHP is restricted to CLI base only. On the other hand, the lifecycle of fibers controlled by the program itself. Fibers pause the entire execution stack, and the fiber and the main execution flow does not happen at the same time. A fiber starts from the main execution flow, and when it starts, the fiber is executed exclusively. The main thread cannot terminate or suspend the fiber while it's executed. It can suspend itself, but cannot resume by itself. Therefore, the main thread should resume the fiber. Fibers seem to run in parallel, but are handled by the runtime instead of pushing it directly to the CPU. Okay, let's try with an example. The code I'm going to write is supposed to make and write some files as a very basic example of a fiber. So let's start from scratch. First, I need to have an array of items as my files. Then I'm gonna define a fiber. With a loop, file, put contents. For example, write now. Okay, I'm going to suspend this loop and return the index of current one from here. A for maybe, usually I prefer for each. Start our fiber. Make sure my diode exists. Now we need another loop to resume our suspended fiber. While not terminated. Print a feedback. And update index via resume, caused of that suspendable. Okay, let's just run our code. It's done, but it's empty because of this empty array. This is enough. It's done, and the output is fine. Okay, let's see what we have. I have a fiber here that contains a loop. It's going to suspend here, then resume here. This is the second loop to show the progress and to control our first fiber. Also, we can run the second loop via another fiber too. The first loop. Too easy. Just need to start the second fiber. Let's run it again. Let me delete this one to make the result clear. It's working just fine. It's nested now, except I have created the first fiber outside of the second fiber. I used fibers here because I can pause the execution after writing each file, just to present some feedbacks to notify the user. Let's try a percentage. That's started from 0. Now we have percentages too. Of course, we could do it without fibers too. To work with fibers, we need something to schedule our fibers, a loop system maybe. You can try with this code or with a more complex one to get what it is, but you're not going to have any interact with the fiber unless you have a very weird reason to use it directly. You can use fibers to multitasking with or without external libraries. In some cases, for async programming, you may need to change the whole of the stack you made just to make your code support async. This is a problem and fibers will be your savior. Fibers good because it's native. I'm looking for more use of the fibers, not just the feedback scenario or even fetching some URLs. I believe PHP should get more native things for asynchronous programming. And thank you for watching this video. I'm not a master of fibers or async, but if you have a question, please drop a comment below and I try to answer that question. Soul is the most used extension in this area. Maybe I make a video for that later. But I think PHP should consider some more features as native features in the next major release. Finally, if you would like to get my next video, please press the subscribe. If you do so, you'll get a video from me from time to time. And if this video was interesting to you, please leave it with a like or dislike. See you in the next video.